Well, it has been an incredible week of news within the true crime community. We are going to get started with our very first Friday night wrap up. Stick with me. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend, and welcome back. So glad that you are here. Thank you very much for joining me this Friday evening as I take a sip of water. Wow, Gavin has something going on here. How does one do it backwards? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Guys, I'm a big sloppy hairy mess. That's just what I am right now. And I try to keep it in a ponytail. I'm just a big sloppy hairy mess. And we're just all going to have to deal with it a little bit. But welcome back. I am Gavin. This is another true crime conversation. This is the first time that we're going to do what I think we're probably going to do from here on out. If it works, we're going to do a Friday night wrap up, kind of the news that's been happening in true crime over the week. Of course, this week has been mostly an Ellen Greenberg week because on Monday we had that report that dropped. And so we're just going to get into it. We're going to get into that a little bit, but there are other things that I want to share with you. We're going to talk about baby Emmanuel Haro. We're going to talk about Donna Adelson. We're going to talk about hidden true crime, Laura Matias. Apparently, I'm like second guessing myself. Is it Laura or Lauren? Lauren, of course. You know, do you ever have those moments where you're just like brain fog, brain freeze? Just doesn't work. So Lauren doing a 9-hour live stream about what she says is a stalker. And that is actually something that many of us in the YouTube sphere really fear. One kind of crazy person can ruin your whole life. So I'm sympathetic to that. We're going to get into just a few details of that, not tons, because it's her channel, it's her story. She'll be able to tell it, but it is important that we all know what's going on. I think the best place to start is probably on the Emmanuel Haro case. So we all remember Emmanuel Haro was a 7-month-old little baby boy, who disappeared sometime between August 5th and August 14th. His mother, Rebecca Haro. My goodness, now I need to sneeze. Oh, I held back the dad sneeze as best as I could. His mother, Rebecca Haro, claimed that she was knocked unconscious and the baby was taken from her car outside the Big Five. Side note, tangent here. We're going to watch a clip here in a little bit of a video that I'm going to put the link in the description down below. I haven't done it yet. Too much going on today. But there is a Big Five reference in that video. The clip we're going to watch tonight is not that. But you guys should watch the video. Okay, so she claims she was knocked unconscious, the baby was taken. But both her and her husband, Jake Haro, were arrested for the murder of little baby Emmanuel, though nobody has ever been discovered, which is crazy to me. But we have some good news, a silver lining. None of this is good news, but silver lining, and that is that the Riverside County DA's office announced yesterday that Jake Haro has pleaded guilty to the murder of little Emmanuel. Let's just read this press release. The father of 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro pled guilty today, October 16th, 2025, to the child's murder. Jake Mitchell Haro, date of birth 2993, of Cabazon, entered guilty pleas to 1 count each of murder, child endangerment, and filing a false police report at a felony settlement conference at the Hall of Justice in Riverside. He is scheduled to be sentenced on November 3rd, 2025, in Department 61 at the Hall of Justice. Jake Haro's guilty pleas were to the court and not a plea agreement with the district attorney's office. Oh, no. Okay, now we remember in the case that he had pleaded guilty to terrible crimes involving the CA of his little girl. A little girl that 10 years later suffers physical maladies because of his CA. And if you remember, the DA complained that he threw himself upon the mercy of the court, and mercy was given. But it appears that this is what's happening in this case. He is pleading guilty to the court, it's not a plea agreement with the DA's office. In a plea to the court, a defendant enters guilty pleas to all charged counts, and the judge in the case determines the sentence a defendant will serve. Haro faces a potential sentence of 25 years to life in prison. On that same date, November 3rd, his wife Rebecca Renee Haro, date of birth 2384. Oh my goodness, she is rocking the cradle, is she not? Billy Idol. Doesn't matter. Is scheduled to have her... I bet Mooney has seen Billy Idol in concert. Mooney, have you seen Billy Idol in concert? Okay, anyway, Haro, Rebecca, is scheduled to have her preliminary hearing in Department 61 on charges of murder and filing a false police report. The false report charges stem from the defendant's falsified report of Emmanuel's abduction on August 14th in Yucaipa, when Rebecca Haro claimed she was attacked in a parking lot while changing the baby's diaper, and Emmanuel was then kidnapped. Authorities in San Bernardino County investigating that report found it to be false, and the couple was later arrested and charged by the Riverside County DA's office with Emmanuel's murder. As of this news release, again yesterday, the boy's remains have not been recovered. Because there are still active criminal proceedings involving Rebecca Haro, the district attorney's office will be making no additional comments regarding the case or the guilty pleas of Jake Haro. And while that printed off as a 2-pager, it really is just a 1-pager. So we've got some good news here. Got some good news that we have got a guilty plea. Let's just see if Mooney has responded yet. I want to know. Mooney has seen Billy Idol in concert, because of course she has. Of course she has. You know, yesterday we had a fun little conversation about cars. And Mooney talked about the car that she had with the 8-track and all that stuff. I have identified my dream classic car. I just want to make sure that this is the right one. Hold on. Yes. I would like a 1963 Lincoln Continental convertible. I think rolling in one, like black with big white wall tires, I think I would look good. I think it would look terrific. And I hope someday that is going to be mine. It will not have an 8-track, Mooney. It will have some sort of something that will allow me to Bluetooth. But anyway, okay. Glad that you have seen Billy Idol in concert. All right. So that's the good news on the Jake Haro front. Quickly rolling back around to Ellen Greenberg. This is a case that we've covered all week. Obviously, this is a case that matters a lot to me. And these two fine folks, and I don't want to skip over the fine folks part. These are some of the best people I've ever met. Josh and Sandy Greenberg. Here we see them here. This was written this morning. Philadelphia officials offer update in Ellen Greenberg case, which we all know, but I'm just going to quickly cover it. Over 14 years after Ellen Greenberg, 27-year-old teacher was found dead in her apartment with over 20 stab wounds, City of Philadelphia has again ruled her death as a suicide in an autopsy report released this week. It wasn't really an autopsy report. The case, which has generated intense controversy and accusations of a police cover-up, re-entered the national conversation after the City of Philadelphia entered a settlement agreement with Greenberg's parents earlier this year. That was on February 4th. I don't think it was signed till April, but that's when it happened. Part of the settlement agreement was a review of Greenberg's death. The family has been attempting to get the ruling of a suicide changed for over a decade. The official cause of death in the case has been changed multiple times, switching from suicide to homicide before returning to a determination of suicide. No, that is incorrect. There was never a determination of suicide prior to homicide. What there was a bunch of cops saying this is not a homicide. That's what happened. When Dr. Osborne looked at Ellen, he found her to have died by homicide. So this isn't correct, and it's not even close enough, but we'll go on. Returning to a determination of suicide that was upheld by the city's independent review, which I quibble with that word, performed by the city's chief medical examiner, Dr. Simon. Dr. Simon, by the way, I found out, is married to a lawyer, a man who worked in the Philadelphia district attorney's office at about the same time that all of this happened. Simon wrote her 32-page report, released the 13th, that, again, I don't think it was released the 13th. It was the 10th. This is not correct. The Greenberg's death is best classified as suicide. Simon added Greenberg was suffering from anxiety, mostly stemming from her work as a teacher, and that Greenberg would have been capable of causing all 23 stab wounds on her body. I say nay. And I've been trying to reach out to Joseph Scott Morgan to see if he can come on, but I think just based on his social media posts, he and his lovely wife Kim are preoccupied by beautiful little grandchildren. So we're not going to be able to get Joseph on anytime soon. She also discussed 31 contusions, which I contend are 59, not 31, were found on Ellen's body. Says it was her opinion that the contusions were not intentional infliction, but rather were consistent with incidental contact sustained during activities of daily living. That part killed me. Because again, my wife is a very good avatar of Ellen Greenberg. Height, weight, strength, the whole thing. I'm telling you, if she had that many bruises on her body, I would be so concerned. So, yeah, I'm calling BS on that. Joe Pedraza said, anybody who has looked at this case knows it's not a suicide. And what does this medical examiner says? She says, she was a first grade teacher and those are bruises that happen during normal course of daily activity. What is this, full contact first grade? They're doing essentially the Philadelphia Eagles scrimmages without pads on. The bruises exist. The explanation is silly, is what Joe said. Pedraza said the family was done with Philadelphia and the only way for Greenberg to get justice was from outside the city. The findings were released one day before a scheduled hearing about the results. Again, incorrect. It was 3 days before. Okay. All right. So there's our obligatory talking about the stupid 32-page report that came from Ellen Greenberg's case. Let's check in, see what you guys are saying here real quick. Robin with a rebel yell. That's funny. Shay says, Gavin, I'm in love with you, but I respect your marriage, so I'll back off. Love your channel. So smart. Listen, Shay, I deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much. I've been told my whole life that I was smart, and I've never felt I've always felt like average, just kind of an average guy. But my oldest sister, who is the smartest person that I know, she insists. She insists that I am above average, and I don't know. I think we all have our interests, right? There are things that we have interests in, and so because we're so interested in this thing, we tend to apply ourselves more, and because we tend to apply ourselves more, we come off as overly knowledgeable or something about the thing. And I think that's what happened in my case. When I worked for LH Labs, it was so amazing because I was around engineers all day. Larry and Henry were engineers, and then others were added as we started to grow that company. And I just loved sitting in a room going, I am not following a single thing y'all are saying. I loved it. Just Ducky says, why couldn't they have the independent, in quotes, autopsy done outside of Philly? Indeed. The reason it was done by Philadelphia is because that was the settlement that they reached. What color? Canary yellow for me. No, we're talking about my Dream 63 Continental. I want it to be black. I want it to look like it just rolled off the showroom floor. So I don't want anything to be done to it as far as like making it cool or making it modern or hip or anything. I am all about just a black Lincoln Continental right off the showroom floor. However, I will say the canary yellow, I had a 66 Beetle that I painted canary yellow with white walls on the doors. It was an amazing car. Let's go back up. Let's see about Emmanuel. Robin said, told me wrong about the BMW that her sister has. It's a 750 X-Drive. Yeah, that's cool. Now, a 750 is their big luxury car. X-Drive means it's all-wheel drive. That is a great car. I have had a 740 and a 750. I have not had a 750. At the time, it would have been an XI. They then started branding them X-Drives. Our current BMW is an X-Drive. Okay, nobody's saying anything about the Haros, to me anyway. So I will just move on. Debbie, yeah, you and the Greenbergs had the report on the 10th, but everybody else got it on the 13th. Yeah, okay. I take your comment. I have the gift of discernment. You're going to look like a pimp daddy, those white walls. Yeah, and I promised myself I would never have another convertible because I had one convertible. It was my daily driver, and it was so loud. But in this case, where it's one where I would just drive every once in a while, yeah. I had a forest green Hemi. Awesome. Okay, let's, give me a second. Let's move on to the next case. And I'm going to save the clip for the end. Okay, from Tallahassee.com. Pushing the right buttons here. So, did you guys see Donna Adelson's sentencing hearing? Her comment to the court was so unbelievable to me. I think the case was made rather easily that she was the mastermind of it all. But her comment to the court was like, the dastardly villains that did this to Danny, They have rightly paid a price, but I had nothing to do with this. You got the right people in jail the first time, but I am an innocent woman. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. So you can't make it up. Key takeaways from Donna Adelson's defiant sentencing hearing, and this was published yesterday. Donna Adelson gave one last defiant speech before the curtain came down on her for good during her October 13th sentencing hearing, which saw her try to rewrite reality of her involvement in the murder for hire of Dan Markel in a brazen display that stunned even seasoned courthouse observers. The 75-year-old grandmother claimed during a 13-minute tirade that she had nothing to do with the killing, that she was devastated by the loss of her former son-in-law. I'm sure she was. And that prosecutors had gone after an innocent woman. Clutch my pearls. Her comments flew in the face of vindictive emails and texts obtained during the more than a decade-long investigation into the murder, in which she expressed hatred for Markel and suggested dressing his sons up in Nazi uniforms just to get back at him. Can you imagine? They ran contrary to wiretapped conversations between her and her son, Charlie Adelson, in which she talked in code about the murder, referring to it as something that involved probably the two of us. Charlie Adelson, who was found guilty in 23 in Markel's murder, is serving a life sentence in a South Dakota prison. And they did nothing to impress Leon Circuit Judge Stephen Everett, who sentenced Adelson to a mandatory sentence of life in prison for first-degree murder, plus 30 years for conspiracy and solicitation. A stern Everett even told Adelson her comments could be viewed as an utter lack of remorse. Assistant State Attorney Georgia Kappelman, who let Adelson drone on about her trial and conviction, later called the hearing a goat rope. I have never heard that phrase before, or a situation gone horribly awry. Thank you, Tallahassee.com, for telling me what a goat rope is. I don't think anybody's ever seen anything like this Adelson circus, said Fred Conrad, a Tallahassee criminal defense attorney who watched the hearing over live stream. You can't make it up. I guess you'd win an Academy Award if you did. Here are the takeaways from Donna Adelson's hearing. She wanted to clear her name in the eyes of her family. Okay, yep. Could Donna Adelson's statement impact her or her son Charlie Adelson's appeal? I mean, yeah, okay. That hearing turned into a Saturday Night Live skit. A day after the sentencing, Assistant State Attorney Georgia Kappelman told a Democrat reporter, the Tallahassee Democrat, Donna Adelson only helped the prosecution when she shot arrows all over the courtroom, including to the judge. Jansen said both Kappelman and Everett handled the situation professionally, even as Donna Adelson made ludicrous assertions, including that she loved Markel. She hated Danny, Jansen said. All of her writing said she hated Danny, and it was just horrible. The whole thing reminded me of a Saturday Night Live skit. It was a spoof on the Adelson sentence. Blah, blah, blah. I think that's all I really wanted to read. So, fortunately for us, we don't have to listen to Donna Adelson ever again. And I hope that ends up being true because, I just don't want to hear from her ever again. So on appeal, I guess maybe we'll hear from her, but yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully not. All right. On to the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. This one isn't much of an update, but it came out a couple days ago. So the update is basically that officers responded to a 911 call because of a noise complaint a couple months before Celeste died. But, and this is from the U.S. Sun. It does have a little bit of rumor, but I'm going to read it, okay? Oh, but I am moving forward. Hang on just a second. Let's see what you guys are saying about... Well, first off, Snap Happy, the 63 does have the suicide doors. Thank you very much. Au contraire says, love your calm voice. It's like gentle rain on a tin roof. That's funny. Too many creators think loud is better. Don't ever change. Guys, I think it's universal that everybody hates the sound of their own voice, right? I don't want to listen to myself speak. Nobody likes their own voice. But apparently, thank you to my dad's baritone pipes and my mom's richly timbred vocal folds, I got a good voice. So I've been thinking about changing the tagline on the site to something like, "The crime is dark, but the voice is velvet." But it feels a little too self-congratulatory. You know what I mean? Okay. In the Shape of a Heart. I think Donna and Javi both gave those speeches to get back at both Dan Markel's parents for what they said in their victim statements. However, Mr. and Mrs. Adelson twisted it as usual. Meredith, may Donna testify if Wendy goes to trial? I doubt it, because I doubt that she will ever admit that she was part of it. In the Shape of a Heart, Adelsons did not want grandsons to think ill of them, hence their comments at sentencing and the fact that Dan's parents said the opposite and called the Adelsons out. Okay. Au contraire, she should have got punished. Her influence on her family was the catalyst. Robin saying, kind of campy. Yeah, it is. It is. It very much would be if I said velvet voice. I don't know. Maybe campy is on brand. I don't know. Let's do a poll. Give me a second. I need to go over to here. I need to mute the tab, and then we'll start a poll. Should I change my tagline to something that references my voice? Yes or no? Or please, for the love of all holy, no. All right, so your choices are going to be yes, no, and please, for the love of all holy, no. Because that's how many characters I have. Let's see what you guys think. All right. While that is going on, let us go over to... Where am I going to? The mansion. Yes. Okay. Police paid a visit to singer David's Los Angeles rental mansion after a 4:30 a.m. 911 call 2 months before a 15-year-old was found dead in the trunk of his car. The police investigation into Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death has been dragging on for 6 weeks and no arrests have been made. They have confirmed she was a teen runaway and was reported missing a year before her tragic death, while sources claimed to the U.S. Sun her family felt helpless. David's manager at Interscope Records, John Marshall, had been renting the $4.7 million home in the Hollywood Hills with 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms for the star, priced at $20,000 a month. Man, I thought my mortgage, taxes, and insurance were a lot. 20 G's? Okay. The U.S. Sun obtained information through a Freedom of Information request showing a neighbor called 911 on Sunday, July 20th, 2025. The call was made around 4:38 a.m. regarding a public nuisance complaint, but police didn't arrive at the home until 8:57 a.m. Great response time, fellas. A spokesperson for the LAPD said the noise problem was regarding loud music playing, but when the police eventually got to the house, the situation was resolved. There were no other 911 calls made from February 2024, when David reportedly moved in, until September 25, when his manager got out of the lease and the star moved out of the home. Rivas's decomposing body was found in a Hollywood tow yard on September 8th after a Tesla registered to the singer was reported as an abandoned vehicle. The Los Angeles Medical Examiner has yet to release a cause of death, and she was laid to rest earlier this month at a private funeral. We don't need to go through... Let's see. David's former neighbor claimed in a chat with the U.S. Sun that he saw the singer and Rivas all the time and believed they lived together at the home. I didn't know he was a singer, but I knew he had a Tesla as it was always parked outside, he said. He said he was with the girl regularly all the time, recognizing Rivas from photographs. I'd be in my car and we'd acknowledge each other, say hi, that was about it, when they were heading to the store or wherever. I did ask him about his Tesla as his car was hit and he never fixed it. He didn't really say what happened. A neighbor added, any time I tried to talk to them, they weren't very engaging. They kept to themselves. Friends told me they found a girl in a car, but I didn't realize it was her at first. The owner of the rental said news of Rivas' death came as a shock, and he's now hired his own investigator, as reported by TMZ. So that I really don't care. That is the update on Celeste. Au contraire says, I think he did it. Too many individuals had access to her and the vehicle to assume that. I think he did it. Too many had access to her and the vehicle. So didn't? I'm not following you, contraire. Easy listening crime. There we go. I'm the Delilah of true crime. Mooney, 19 months, our first fanatic. There are very few bands that I haven't seen over the decades. I still frequent concerts. 19 months. Woohoo! Yeah, thank you very much. One Man's Trash, member for 10. Let's see. It says new member, but then it says member for 10 months on the other side. So I'm not sure which one it is. Yeah, but okay. So let's see the result of the poll here. Have to come over here. So the question again was, should I change my tagline to something that references my voice? 52% say yes, 37% say no, and 12% say please for the love of all holy no. So it's a 52 to 49, 51 to 49 is what we got there. So, kind of split down the middle, guys. Kind of split down the middle. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. Bulldog Mom says, everyone please don't come for me, but when I first found you, I thought you were a religious channel because the stained glass windows behind you, but stayed for the content. That's funny. That is fun. No, I just live in an historic house that has old Tiffany windows. That's really funny. In fact, I posted a picture. I think I already shared this with you guys, but I did post a picture in the tank of my new Skeptic hat. And let's bring this up here real quick. That's the main stained glass window, but we've got Tiffany glass throughout the whole house. That's pretty funny. I love it. And we won't come for you, Bulldog Mom. That's pretty great. Meredith, why haven't they charged David yet? That is an excellent question. I don't have a picture of him and her that I can bring up for you yet. I think they probably just don't have the case yet. I'm sure that, one, there's no ruling of a homicide yet. And two, I bet the DA's office are like, nope, give us more, get us more. Which is good. Ooh, true crime is harsh. The voice isn't. Yeah, keep them coming. Keep them coming. Windows they are. And you know what? You know what's funny? When we moved into the house, I was like, I'm never going to get used to this. And now I hardly even give them any attention. Isn't that horrible? It's horrible. It just becomes part of the house. All of the historic windows just become part of the house. What we're working on next, we've got two things that we're working on in the house. We have to finish up the front porch. We have to get columns replaced. We have to get a whole bunch of stuff done on the front porch. And then we are thinking about converting our third floor, which originally was a ballroom, but is now it's like an apartment up there. It's a 3-bedroom apartment up there. We're thinking about turning that into 2 separate 2-bedroom apartments. The whole idea of having this house was so that everybody could come and visit, and that's what we want to do. Mooney wants to know if hey, at the right price, Mooney, it's for sale. You just name the price, and I'll give you a yes or no. Bulldog Mom, welcome to Fanatic. Thank you very much for joining. And Robin wants, so Just Ducky wants me to read bedtime stories. Robin says, I want Gavin to read Junie B. Jones. It's funny. Nathan Fillion does have a voice. He does. Yeah. I just, maybe a month and a half ago, did my obligatory yearly rewatch of Firefly, and what was the movie called? No, the movie. What was the movie called? Why am I blanking on that right now? Firefly movie. Serenity. That's right. I do that every year. I watch every episode of Firefly, then I watch Serenity, and I can't get enough of it. I love it. I know what's going to happen. I know the order of everything. I know when the different guests are going to appear. I know it all. And yet, I watch it every year. BMX Darko knew. Donna loves Serenity too. Okay. Last one that we want to talk about before I get you on to the clip that I want to share with you from my buddy Kenny. Okay. What happened is Lauren Matias on Hidden True Crime posted a 9-hour video. I have not watched a minute of it. In fact, well, it might be part of the clip. Doesn't matter. I do watch other creators' channels, but if I see 9 hours, I'm probably not going to watch it. So I didn't. But the headline sure did give me a bit of a wake-up call. And basically the headline is that Lauren Matias has a stalker. So this is from a Reddit. I just did a couple of the replies here. We're not going to go over that whole thread. It was huge, but this Redditor writes, Lauren had a 9-hour long live last night. I was only able to watch 1 hour, so I really don't understand what was going on. It seemed like a regular spat to me, but considering the fact that I missed out on an additional 8 hours, I am missing something. Does anyone have any information on what's going on? I'm surprised nobody has discussed this yet. I'm also not surprised that Law and Crime is under fire for bringing cameras into the courtroom. Their channel has always felt so icky to me. Okay. The stalker is Christina on TikTok, says this Redditor, dark-haired Martian, and her entire feed consists of only bullying, crazy veiled threats aimed at Lauren. That's it. She only posts junior high mean girl crap about Lauren, of whom she was friends with for a year or less. That was really poorly written, but we're following. Can you imagine a grown woman with kids spending her time posting only about a person that hurt her feelings? Her goal is to spread awareness. She's manic, unhinged. I'd be fearful too. Happy, stable people don't ever do this kind of stuff. Ever, ever, ever. By the way, she says, be kind to everyone often, as she posts disturbing content about one person. It's beyond crazy. The chick needs help. Lauren is right to watch out for this disturbed, let's say, person. And then another person responds, agreed, this behavior is wild. I accidentally cut off the name of the Redditor. And way beyond normal. I don't care who hurt her feelings. This person is fixated to be so obsessive that you violate a no contact order multiple times, create and run a social media account that you post daily to, and have the audacity to reach out to professional contacts. Seems more serious than someone who's just immature, butthurt, and has a little too much time on their hands. It seems like this person has some serious mental health issues that could make her a danger to herself and others. And that is the scary thing. I'm not going to put myself in Lauren's position. Like, this is beyond, but there have been a couple times where, with some people, viewers of the show, that I have felt like, ooh, is this about to turn really ugly? And, yeah, fortunately for me, it hasn't yet, but that's one of the reasons why I, don't want to give too many details about me. I probably give way too many, but, that's one of the reasons why most of us who create content give very few details about ourselves, where we live, that's where we work, that sort of stuff. So I am thinking of Lauren and hoping that she stays safe, and that if indeed this is as serious as it appears to be, that that there can be some kind of police or legal action. Okay, last thing that I want to share with you guys today. Oh, before I keep going on without getting your comments. Alexander, it was Lauren who did the 9-hour live on Hidden True Crime. Do you think her coming public in this way will help her legally? Yeah, I do. Au contraire, is your hair driving you insane? Yes. Yes, it is. And as I told Josh, well, I don't know, I think I was talking to Josh Ritter. I've got like this Carol Brady thing going. I just feel like Carol Brady, like in the early years of the Brady Bunch, where it's just like, it just drives me nuts. And I was talking with my little niece today and Kimberly yesterday. I think I might, even though I've got a goal to just grow it out to donate it, I think I might have to go to a professional and have it styled somehow, because it actually looks longer than it really is, right? I haven't had anything cut. Well, I've had the edges, kept trim. I haven't had anything cut though, so it's all the same length. So I might do that, because it is driving me nuts. Oh, I see. Kathy with Grace, Law and Crime wanted to have cameras in courtroom to film her protective order. Wow, I didn't know that. It is ridiculous that the stalker has to make an actionable move before law can intervene. Yeah. Au contraire, oh yes, she needs to stop. That poor woman spent a whole day explaining her case. So yeah, I'm not feeling good for Lauren. I am hoping that all is well with her. Okay. Now, the last thing that I want to share with you guys on this Friday night, oh my goodness, it's been 42 minutes already, is, let's see, I think I can bring it up here. Okay. While I was in California visiting my folks, going on a little mental health holiday, my wife having, let's see, yeah, it's going to work. I hope this audio is going to work. But my wife gave me the gift of, you need a break. You need to go see your mom and dad. Go back to California, spend some time with your folks, go see some friends. And I did. Now, one of my absolute best friends is the guy you're looking at right here. His name is Kenny Ballantyne. Kenny is 193,000 different kinds of awesome. I just love him to death. One of the things that he's really good at is he is a documentary filmmaker, and he's made, you guys can look up Estamos Aquí, which is one that he did. Estamos Aquí by Kenny Ballantyne. Look up Nature Kids by Kenny Ballantyne. He's done, look up Healing Us by Kenny Ballantyne. He is incredibly talented and a person that I just deeply love. He and I are very different people. But you know what? With very different people, I think most of the time, there's more that you have in common than you have differences in, with, for, dangling participle, whatever. So Kenny, he just likes to make content, and he has created an account called Quantum Mixtape. I will put a link in the description below. I will also share these episodes on the tank, in the tank. In fact, I might even write a blog post about this, because I've watched part 1 of 2 so far, and of course I was there for the interview. But what he likes to do on Quantum Mixtape is he just likes to interview people that he finds interesting. And when I told him I was coming to California, I'd love to see him, he's like, I would love to see you. And by the way, you have to sit down for Quantum Mixtape. So we did. Okay. I'm going to show you about how long is this? It's about a 5-minute clip of Kenny interviewing me, which seems rather self-serving. But he did such a good job that I'm just going to go for it. And then I will put the link to Quantum Mixtape I'll put it in the live chat too for both parts while we're watching this.
Was there a moment with this particular thing where it sort of like transcended being a thing I'm trying to do to be my thing, to like make an income and be a job, to, oh my God, this actually like matters?
It happened very early. Very early. So I am not a true crime fan. I don't watch the true crime doc series on Netflix. I didn't grow up watching whatever Court TV or America's Most Wanted or Cops or whatever.
You wouldn't be subscribed to your own channel?
I would not. Yeah. No, to this day, I don't.
Yeah.
A lot of my viewers, they're surprised the first time. Sometimes they're turned off. They go away. They come back, when they realize I'm really not one of you. My friend Rick, he was the one, it was COVID, and our business, he had a business where his service was the restaurant industry. My service was the electronics industry, and dealerships had to close, restaurants had to close. That meant distributors didn't have anybody to sell to. Manufacturers couldn't sell anything, like out of work. And he was out of work too, because nobody could go to a restaurant. So he had no clients. He said, why don't we do a YouTube channel? There are a lot of people on YouTube that can't be as smart as us, and they're doing okay. And I went, yeah, we're smart people, I guess, right? What would we do? And he said, how about true crime? And I was like, it's as good as idea as any. Okay.
Right. But you weren't drawn into it out of passion.
No, he was. He was the opposite of what I described myself as. He loved America's Most Wanted. He grew up on the story of Adam Walsh and JonBenet Ramsey and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, well, do you think there are enough cases? What would we do? His idea was, why don't we try to solve crimes? Which is, that requires a lot of chutzpah, right? It's like, we're going to help solve crimes. But I was like, yeah, we're going to solve crimes, right? And so we gave each other a homework to try to find a case. And he found a case in Sacramento. And it was Judith Ann Hockery. She was a nurse that worked at Sutter Memorial. And it was 1970, and she was working the late shift, and she was planning on going home to her apartment where her boyfriend had gone to meet with her to have a late dinner.
Right, Tina?
And she never showed up. He goes out looking for her because it's the 70s, and finds her car in the parking lot, and there is evidence of a struggle. Anyway, when we started looking at photos, like Judy Hockery looks like my mom, and her engagement ring from her fiance is almost exact. I never saw a picture of it, but there's a description of it in the police reports, and it is my mother's wedding set. And it was just like, we have to solve this for Judy. Like, I never met her. I don't know any of her family. But what can we do?
You felt a connection after.
Yes. Yeah. I think the other thing was the apartment complex was my when my sister got married, that was her first apartment complex. There were just these little things. And we ended up being in touch with a young man who was her paper delivery driver who testified to us that he saw it happen. And it wasn't at 1 a.m. He had all these different things, right? So we were like, I don't know if he was a crazy person or not. Like back then, it was hard to. I feel like I've got crazy radar these days, but we talked to witnesses, and then the capstone of that was a young man reached out to us who would have been her son. DNA doesn't work that way, but his father was the fiance, and took forever to. I don't think he ever got over it, but married later in life and had children and everything. So we started making these connections with people very early on. That's what sucked me in. What sucked me in isn't the horrifying nature of crime. It's the how does this affect children and their parents? So yeah, let me bring that up to right there. So I just wanted to share that with you. I think many of you guys don't know why I even started in true crime, and many of you may not even know that I'm not really a fan of true crime. I just have been sucked into it, and yeah, I mean, I love the comments about it looks like the Death Star. Yes, Quantum Mixtape, I've given you links in the live chat, and I have added them to the description now. I will share them in the tank. The whole idea is that he's on like a spaceship traveling across the universe, interviewing people that he thinks are interesting. So it's fun. It's a very small channel. I think he has like less than 10 subscribers kind of thing, but he's only doing it because he just wants to create content and talk to fun people. So yeah, go check it out, and check out the other people that he's been talking to as well. It's pretty fun. All right. With that, guys, I think we're at the end. It is Friday, and that means we get to take a little bit of a break. We'll come back on Monday. I'm going to schedule a members only live stream for probably the end of next week, so that, I just want to make sure that those are scheduled, because otherwise I don't do them, and I owe them to you, which is really, really uncool. For those of you who are brand spanking new, if you don't know, you can check me out on my website, which is gavinfish.com. It has all sorts of things, Crime Cod articles. Crime Cod is my full-on true crime news website, blog posts, and then probably the most important, wow, I wonder why those aren't loading. Come on, blog posts, load. But yeah, head to the website, and then there are case pages. And of course, if you click on this little button, that will take you over to the tank, which is where we hang out on Facebook. You're always invited. Did they load? Let's see if they loaded. Okay, good. They loaded. My last blog post was actually really popular. It was an open letter to Carolyn Aguayo, who testified against her father, Jeff Spence. And yeah, I think I'm going to write a blog post or a newsletter about my interaction with Kenny. His channel is pretty awesome. Quantum Mixtape is where you want to go. Wrong button, Gavin. Yeah, there we go. Quantum Mixtape. Okay, with that, I shall, as always, bid you adieu. I hope you have a great weekend, or a great couple of days whenever you are. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.